Hi everyone, it's Carolyn Marie with HealingNRG, and today's topic is understanding pain. Understanding a little bit more about how pain actually can educate us. That's going to be a topic I'm going to be spending a lot of time discussing because recently I did a survey and I learned that many people are actually interested in understanding why we experience pain in our physical body and in our emotional body. And so there's a book that I've been reading, and there's a little piece in here I want to share with you that I felt or that I feel does a really good job in sarcastically examining pain. So I'm going to share this with you, and then I'm going to talk about the book a little bit more in detail after this share. So apologize for me looking down because I'm reading, okay? So it's titled, this portion I'm reading is titled The Misadventures of Disappointed Panda. And Disappointed Panda is who this author touts to be a superhero. So it begins, if I could invent a superhero, I would invent one called Disappointed Panda. He'd wear a cheesy eye mask and shirt with a giant capital T on it that was way too small for his big panda belly, and his superpower would be to tell people harsh truths about themselves that they needed to hear but didn't want to accept. He would go door to door like a Bible salesman and ring doorbells saying things like, sure, making a lot of money makes you feel good, but it won't make your kids love you. Or, if you have to ask if you trust your wife, then you probably don't. Or, what if what you consider friendship is really just your constant attempts to impress people? Then he'd tell the homeowner to have a nice day and saunter on down to the next house. It would be awesome and sick and sad and uplifting and necessary. After all, the greatest truths in life are usually the most unpleasant to hear. Disappointment Panda would be the hero that none of us would want, but all of us would need. He'd be the proverbial vegetables to our mental diet of junk food. He'd make our lives better despite making us feel worse. He'd make us stronger by tearing us down, brightening our future by showing us the darkness. Listening to him would be like watching a movie where the hero dies in the end. You love it even more despite making you feel horrible because it feels real. So while we're here, allow me to put on my Disappointment Panda mask and drop another unpleasant truth to you. We all suffer for the simple reason that suffering is biologically useful. This part I don't necessarily agree with. I'll expand later as I continue. It is nature's preferred agent for inspiring change. We have evolved to always live with a certain degree of dissatisfaction and insecurity because it's the mildly dissatisfied and insecure creature that's going to do the most work to innovate and survive. We are wired to become dissatisfied with whatever we have and satisfied by only what we do not have. Again, not quite on the mark, but the story still has a really profound point. This constant dissatisfaction has kept our species fighting and striving, building and conquering. So no, our own pain and misery aren't a bug of human evolution, they are a feature. And what I'm going to point out is they don't have to be, okay? Pain in all of its forms is our body's most effective means of spurring action. Take something as simple as stubbing your toe. If you're like me, when you stub your toe, you scream enough four-letter words to make Pope Francis cry. You also probably blame some poor inanimate object for your suffering. Stupid table, you say. Or maybe you even go so far as to question your entire interior design philosophy based on your throbbing foot. What kind of idiot puts a table here anyway? Seriously! But I digress. That horrible total stub toe induced pain, the one that you and I and the Pope hate so much, exists for an important reason. Physical pain is a product of our nervous system, a feedback mechanism to give us a sense of our own physical proportions, where we can and cannot move, and what we can and cannot touch. When we exceed those limits, our nervous system duly punishes us to make sure that we pay attention and never do it again. Okay, I'm gonna add here a little. That's not really true. He's subtly hitting the mark here, but our physical body actually has more meridians and points that connect to our chakra body, which all has an emotional component. And as you begin to understand that, which this book isn't really about, you start to be able to connect the emotional patterns, the emotional wounds, the emotional beliefs that aren't serving to these physical injuries. And as we begin to ignore things that aren't serving us, they do physicalize. So that's why proactivity is such a beneficial tool to use if you want to live a happy life, to proactively be looking at truth. But again, the laws of the universe are going to correct us either way. So I'll continue with the Disappointing Panda. So he speaks about, and in this pain, as much as we hate it, it is useful. And I agree with that. Pain is what teaches us what to pay attention to when we're young or careless. It helps show us what's good for us versus what's bad for us. It helps us understand and adhere to our own limitations. Well, it teaches us to not F around near hot stoves or stick metal objects into electrical sockets. Therefore, it's not always beneficial to avoid pain and seek pleasure, since pain can, at times, be life or death important to our well-being. But pain is not merely physical. Amen. No, it's not. As anyone who has to sit through the first Star Wars prequel can tell you, we humans are capable of experiencing acute psychological pain as well. In fact, research has found that our brains don't register much difference between physical pain and psychological pain. So when I tell you that my first girlfriend cheating on me and leaving me felt like having an ice pick slowly inserted into the center of my heart, that's because, well, it hurt so much. I might as well have had an ice pick slowly inserted into the center of my heart. Like physical pain, our psychological pain is an indication of something out of equilibrium, some limitation that has been exceeded. And like our physical pain, our psychological pain is not necessarily always bad or even undesirable. In some cases, experiencing emotional or psychological pain can be healthy and necessary. Just like stubbing our toe teaches us to walk into fewer tables, the emotional pain of rejection or failure teaches us how to avoid making the same mistakes in the future. And this is what's so dangerous about a society that coddles itself more and more from the inevitable discomforts of life. Amen to that. We lose the benefits of experiencing healthy doses of pain, a loss that disconnects us from the reality of a world around us. You may salivate at the thought of a problem-free life full of everlasting happiness and eternal compassion, but back here on earth, the problems never cease. Seriously, problems don't end. Disappointment Panda just dropped by. We had margaritas, and he told me all about it. Problems never effing go away, he said. They just improve. Warren Buffett's got money problems. The drunk hobo down the Quick Easy Mart got problems. Buffett's just got better money problems than the hobo. All of life is like this. Life is essentially an endless series of problems, Mark the Panda told me. He sipped his drink and adjusted the little pink umbrella. The solution to one problem is merely the creation of another one. A moment passed, and then I wondered where the F the Panda came from, and we're at it. Who made these margaritas? Don't hope for a life without problems, the Panda said. There's no such thing. Instead, hope for a life full of good ones. And with that, he set his glass down, adjusted the sombrero, and sauntered off into the sunset. So the name of this book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And the reason why I'm not fully recommending it is because while it's awesome in many parts, I think it can be misleading if you don't fully understand that pain doesn't have to be a part of our life, but when it is a part of our life, it is there not to teach us necessarily about the physical things, but to teach us about the emotional things that are blocking us from our divine self, from our divine truth. Because we're living in a physical world that's designed of physical laws, and the creator of these physical laws designed them to be in harmony with divine love, which we humans are much out of alignment with, and which are the human ancestors are much out of alignment with. And so if we recognize when we stub our toe or when we have emotional pain, that these are indicators that we're out of alignment with understanding what love is in this area, then we begin to open up a whole educational college where we can begin to learn what love truly is. And this book does have a lot of these truths in it. And what I mean by that is not the way religions and society and our ancestors have taught us, because what religion and society and our ancestors believed is what is ever present on this earth. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that's not working. And that's why the pain, you don't have to even believe what he or I am saying. You may experiment with it on your own. That is the beautiful thing about truth, because you can experiment with truth and truth will become your teacher. So as you start to have an awakening and an awareness to how pain serves us, as while it feels unpleasant, it's just here to correct our course. And when we allow the emotional aspect to come in, when we allow ourselves to feel the truth of maybe what someone has told us that was out of harmony with our higher good, and we don't want to believe that because we thought that person really loved us, and having to detangle what we thought was love, we don't want to do that. Well, then we don't want to let go of pain. So when we do decide we want to let go of pain and we do want to see the truth, we can cry at that what we thought was love wasn't, and begin to become autonomous, connecting with our divine truth, our soul, emotional, pure soul essence, and our creator, and we can begin to learn and unwind things, and we won't have to walk through that pain's door again. So I hope you find this helpful. There'll be lots more on this topic, and please feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your experiences with truth and pain, emotional and physical. And until next time, this is Carolyn Marie with Healing NRG. Have a lovely day. Oh, also, please subscribe to me here on YouTube. On Facebook, it's HealingNRG.org. And we do have an emotional wellness group. If you'd like to be a part of that, comment below. And go to my website, HealingNRG.org, and please subscribe to my newsletter. See you soon. Bye-bye.